Hello and welcome to this Wild Moon Sessions podcast. My name is Bexy and I am your host. Today I am talking to Trish Kane. Me and Trish met via an online community over lockdown, actually, over the last couple of years. And I felt really inspired to invite Trish on here because she is such a magnificent, inspirational go-getter, and I just absolutely adore her energy. So Trish, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you for having me on here today, Bexy. My name is Trish Kane. I live in Denver, Colorado. I love Bexy and I'm so grateful to be here. I'm a serial entrepreneur and I love spirituality, and that's a really common thing that Bexy and I have together. So excited to talk more about that today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, Trish. It's awesome to get people across time zones together. I know that we adore and love that. And I particularly wanted to get Trish on today because she has such an inspirational story. And I really love to be able to share people's stories because actually this is how we can learn from one another and just be empowered with one another and elevate together. So Trish, I know, where would you start your story if you were going to tell it? What would be your starting point? Because I don't want to do that for you.
Well, I guess I should probably just say that I'm from New York because the gig will be up with specific words that I say will be very obvious. And I grew up there and with my mom and going to my dad's every other weekend. And I had great grandparents that I loved. And I went to private school, and it was like, I always wanted something bigger and better. Like, it was always very small schools, and I just felt like I needed to like bust out of there. Like, the world is so big and I felt super confined to a small space. Life just went on, and I copied a lot of people and just did what I thought kind of you were supposed to do instead of like truly following my own heart and soul. And I feel that since I started to like spiritually wake up probably 10 years ago, I've really been working on figuring out what are my limiting beliefs and what do I truly believe, as opposed to what have I been replicating and just copying from, what I think I'm supposed to think and what I think I'm supposed to do. And I think that's been the most profound part of like just life, is finding out what do I truly believe and like what's my divine purpose. Yeah.
I love that you've shared that. I love how New York is not big enough for you, Trish. That makes so much sense to me. Everybody else is like, it's a big city, it's not big enough for Trish. I love that. But that also shows that shows me what a huge spirit you are. And I already know this, but it's just such a huge spirit. I know that you had an experience with alcohol and things like that. Would you be willing to share on that? Or
yeah. So in November, I'll have 7 years sober. I haven't taken any drugs or alcohol, anything since then. So on November 16th, 2014, I was doing a lot of cocaine and drinking, and with alcoholism and addiction, it tells you, like, there's a voice. I think everybody must have this voice inside their brain, but it would convince me into like these crazy things over and over again. And that night I was like, I'm just going to have one drink. And I wound up starting at like 4:30. I poured a glass of wine. I went out to the bar and I did some cocaine and I partied for like 2 days. Or like at least like 20, I don't know, maybe like 24 hours, just one drink. Basically, like, I have this thing called an allergy. And once I trigger that, I can't stop. Like, I just keep going. I can't really differentiate the truth from the false when I'm in the act of addiction.
Okay.
So it's crazy. Like, I didn't really understand what it was back then. And I always listened to the voice. So I didn't know any different. But so they found me, I was 86 degrees. I was not responsive. They brought me back, but I still wasn't conscious. My mom had a feeling something happened to me and had a wellness check done on me. And that's how they found me, like sitting up, unconscious, not a lot, like they had to resuscitate me, bring me back to life. Yeah. And then I was in a 10-day coma on life support. And they told my mom and dad, like, I'm sorry, like, if she makes it, she's going to be brain dead. And like, fast forward, they take me off the respirator and the doctor's like, do you know where you are? And I was like, I'm definitely in the psych ward again, but I wasn't. I was in the hospital. And the doctor was gasping for air when I was responding to him. He could not believe I was answering him. And
you're a miracle.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You are.
They put me in the MRI machine. I had to learn how to walk, talk, everything again.
Wow.
This eye was droopy down and did not move back and forth. Like they held me up with like these belts and were like, this is your right leg, this is your left leg. And like, it was so scary. I was 29 years old. The nurses were my age. And, but it was really cool because the doctors told me, you have angels. So right then and there, I knew that I had a purpose and I knew something greater was out there and that life was going to get better.
I to be honest, that is such an intense journey that your body's been through, Trish. Like, I thank you for sharing it, first of all, because I think that that's a hugely courageous thing to do. And for me, even just listening to that process of like learning to walk again, and did you feel like I can understand why you have this huge spirit for life, because you've learned as an adult how to do it again in that sense. So it's almost like every single, like sometimes I think when I see like a newborn baby or a small animal or something like that, they're learning how to be in the world, aren't they? And sometimes I just feel so much for them because I'm like, oh, you're going to have to figure out how to do this and this and this and this. Naturally, there's so much curiosity and play in those moments. And I think that, that's a hugely courageous thing that you've been through. And now, obviously I'll ask Trish to share about this, but she's very much like an empowerment person. She's a go-getter. She's a master manifestor. And I think there's just so much to learn from you in that sense, because the zest for life has allowed you to see how alive you are, and or has it? I guess that's a question I could ask. Does it make you feel more alive? Do you feel like, oh my God, I love this life. I just love it.
I finally feel like that. It took a long time. I feel like right now, I feel like I'm standing in my power more than ever before. I think that it's been a roller coaster of a journey of sort of learning what I'm capable of, because I was like struggling a lot. Like, I mean, once you put the drugs and alcohol aside, like you said, I was like a newborn baby. I had to learn how to like live without drugs and alcohol to cope with, and like really learn how to turn towards spirituality and learn how to be a human and learn how to like learn who I even was or what I even like to do, because I would like watch sporting events because they were good for drinking. And like, do I even like sports? They're okay. I had to learn all these things. Like, what do I even like to do? Like, what makes me happy? What makes me feel empowered? How can I empower other people? So I've kind of been like working through that, and then working on balance too, which like ironically, it's obviously Libra season. So I've really been looking at like the balance and things, like with everything, eating, working out, spirituality, spending time with my dog. Even like, it was half daylight and half darkness recently, right? Like
equinox,
Yeah, on the equinox. And that was just like last week. And I'm like, okay. And really tapping into these things right now and seeing like, what like is good for me. And right now, so I started 4 businesses in the last like 5 months or so, 6 months now, 5. It's been incredible. I had a developer at my house last night until like 10 o'clock. And we were like, redoing one of my websites. And I just feel so finally, like I know what I'm supposed to do here. I've always had little tasks and missions, like from spirit, God, angels, whatever you want to call it, gut, heart, right? But I feel like I finally know what my purpose is. And just learning how to balance all of it is really the key. I think that we all are going to always have to work on that, right? Like, we overindulge in whatever.
No, I totally get it. And actually, that's really interesting that you were talking about having to figure out what you like and what you do. You really like it, like what brings you joy, I guess. And I might not have had to go through that physically, but I've had so many like ego deaths that have like challenged me to go even deeper. And I think when I first had my spiritual awakening, I was just like in shock really for such a long time that I was like, I don't even I don't really know what I like anymore, and I don't know this and that and the other. And actually I found so many sinks for me in spirituality and I've always been like that. I was always a child that like my favorite children's film was Pocahontas. Like I was always really, really connected to that idea of spirituality. And I think that that's also something that I found is the more that I grow, the more that I realize that actually there are things that are inherent within me that I will always love. And sometimes it's just a case of coming back to that like pure essence inside of you. I don't know if you've experienced that, Trish, but
definitely.
Yeah.
I think like what's coming to mind right now too is like people pleasing and how for so long I would just run around and people please. And I really started saying no, like lately more than ever. I just like literally like just cutting people out that like, and it's not because I don't love them. Let's just love each other from a distance, because like I feel like if you're just trying to take advantage of me, or if like I'm trying to take advantage of you, or we're just not on the same vibe anymore, let's just not, I had lunch with my friend yesterday and he's like, I finally started saying yes to things. And I'm like, I started saying no. I say no to everything now, and then I can always come back and change my mind and say yes. It's better to say no and not show up than say yes to people please and then not be there.
Sure. Yeah. No, I totally vibe with that. Actually, this year more than ever, I think I've realized what my absolute non-negotiables are, and anything that's surrounding that, I then have a choice. And I think that I've said no more than ever than I've ever said, actually. So I think that that's I love this idea of the neutrality of yes and no, because actually everybody's like, say yes. And actually they're both really have the same weight, don't they? And you can empower yourself to really get in your lane. Like the fact that you've started 4 companies, like Trish, that just shows like what your non-negotiables are. You are like you're in your lane, Well, one question I did want to ask you was like, is there a specific modality or book that you would say that has really helped you tune into yourself, like come back to yourself in a big way? Is there anything that
amazing. Yeah, it's so deep. And And Vianna is like the founder of Theta Healing. I feel like God gave her this, and it's basically like instant healings. And it's allowed me to replace my negative beliefs that I always believed for so long, and replace them with more positive, more genuine beliefs that serve me better. It's allowed me to cut soul ties with certain connections of individuals that I didn't need any connection with anymore. My favorite also is the 7 Planes of Existence. It's also a Theta Healing book. I personally work with the 6th plane the most. Like, some people are connected to spirits or angels or archangels or plants, plant medicine, whatever. My thing is like the 6th plane, which is the laws of the universe. So I like manifestation. I like to manifest things. That has been so profound lately. I can't even tell you. It's great. The things that are going on, I'm like, stop it. Like, I knew that I was like a master manifester in the making. I already could manifest stuff more quickly than other people, but it's outrageous what's been going on around here. People are just showing up. Like, I'll be like the other night I was texting somebody, and I went out to dinner with my neighbor, and they were sitting next to me in the restaurant. I'm like, what? Like, that's the experiences that I've been having. I'll think of somebody and there they are. They don't even necessarily live in Denver, and there they are, I'm like, whoa. Yeah. So I really love the 6th plane. It's like the laws of the universe. There are so many. And just like dealing with like the just like realizing that you can create anything that you want. There's so many limiting beliefs, and a lot of these we come up with ourselves, or a lot of these we learn. The news is something that I don't watch. I make up my own news.
This is the news.
The news is I might rescue another dog.
Oh
my
sweet.
gosh. But like, I know I want to have like 100 dogs, but that's okay.
You will.
And just like,
you will.
Yeah, like being willing to change your own thinking and realize that maybe you're not right. That's been huge and humbling for me, especially as like a fixed sign. I'm an Aquarius sun, and that is like such a fixed sign, like fixed beliefs, like, like Aquarius knows everything. We know it all.
Yeah, no, I understand. I get you. Actually, I think being able to, that's a really, like you say, it's humbling, but it also opens every single doorway so much wider, doesn't it? If you have curiosity and playfulness about like, well, hang on, I've been thinking this way, but actually it's possible to do it like all of these other ways. So say, for example, a job, I'm just trucking along. The majority of people are just trucking along in that kind of like, I need to get a job, rather than thinking there are so many revenues of income that I could explore. I think crypto is actually changing a lot of people's mentality with reference to that, but also I think it's like not boxing yourself in. And I think as an air sign particularly,
I love that.
I don't like boxing myself in. I don't like anything that feels claustrophobic. I like to be able to, and that for me as well, Trish, like what you were saying, actually identity for me is one of those things, people identifying as lots of different things, and actually I love the ability to be able to embody anything on any day. That's really freeing for me. But I love, theta really, really intrigues me actually. And as a healing modality, I think that it's actually not like, it's not that common to hear about it. So I think that it's amazing that you are trained, aren't you, as well? You're trained in theta healing as well.
Yeah. And it encompasses everything. It's the Akashic Records. It's literally everything, like removing shock and trauma. Like, we've all been through trauma in this lifetime, past lifetimes. And to really be able to like replace that with a fonder memory or like a meaning behind it, pretty powerful. It really just, because a lot of people, and I know for myself, we can really live in that trauma and bring it into our current lives and keep reliving it, and to be able to put a stop to it and change the memory and just change the behaviors. It's unbelievable what you can do.
Yeah.
It's really neat. Yeah. Trying to think what else. Yeah, the soul fragments. Oh my gosh. It's just so cool because basically you go up to God and he does all the work. You just have to ask him to do it. God, divine, creator of all that is, whatever you want to call it, and he does all the work. We just witness it.
And that, with that in mind, I don't know whether you experience this, but when I do shamanic journeying, which I think is kind of similar in a way to Theta, but I want to read a little bit more. I'm going to get that 7 levels book.
I love this book. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, it looks incredible. I always get this sense of being at one with absolute, people get this in meditation practice, I guess, as well. The idea of this idea of source or God or whatever it is that you want to say, creator, like it all being, we are all one, like we are literal, and people say this a lot, like mirrors of each other. However, it's like this interconnected feeling. It's like the web of life. And that really feels so undeniable to me, that actually it's there to help you and enable you to heal so quickly without pain. It's on a different plane, so it's not in this 3-dimensional reality. So, but that connectivity to all that is, all that was, and all that will be, it's giving me tingles in my fingers now.
Yeah,
it's like,
I feel it.
that is, I always feel so empowered when I come out of that state, that like sort of astral projection state. And I think that is, there's something undeniable about it. I really feel that. And actually for me, I think it's all everything is a path to unity. Like I love that quote, we're all walking each other home.
Aww.
And actually I think that's, that's kind of the vibe that I get from Theta as well. Like we're all just coming together, and I'm getting chills all over my body now, but like that bringing unity and bringing love back to everything that we do. Yeah, I know I'm gonna cry in a minute.
I know, it's honestly so beautiful, and I just love that there's 2 ways to look at it. Like there's like all this destruction and we're all trying to hurt each other and kill each other, or you can have the perception of like we're all like trying to help each other. And like it's so cool. And these are my favorite conversations, by the way, so thank you for doing this with me today. But it's like it's so profound how when I look at somebody, I don't necessarily see what they look like. I see their spirit. And it's so profound how this is just my body, and like I have a spirit that's in here that chose something so much bigger than anything that's on my body. It's like this like personality, spirit, being, and we are all connected, because like some people are like, how are we connected? I get that. I used to think about that too. We're not connected. You're you and I'm me. But no, like the oxygen in between us, our body is made up of a ton of that. You know what I mean? It's all the same matter, all the same like materials, and it's like we are connected. Like even this stuff, and I don't even know if I should even bring this up, but with the vaccines, whoever's getting them and whoever's not, who cares, right? But people that are getting it, people that aren't getting it are having reactions from people that are getting it, because we are connected.
And they say in like what astrophysics, I think it is, where it's like, is it astro? It's the one where it's tiny, like they're looking at stuff that's like particle level stuff. And they actually say that on that level of cells and protons and neutrons and all of that, if I put my 2 hands next to each other, they're touching, because that's how matter is formed. Like this physicality, really, the limitation, it's actually an illusion. So when we feel each other's energy, that's actually true. It's funny because lots of people, I've been like, not roasted, but I've been like, oh, but I don't believe in that, da, 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 da. And actually there's so many things. Like I have a book that's by Carl Jung, and it's all about synchronicity. And it's all about how actually this idea of a coincidence is not actually possible.
Yeah.
Like the notion of a coincidence isn't actually possible when you look at it in a more philosophical and scientific perspective. So in that sense, everything is connected. And it's actually, I think that can be a way to dissociate from our responsibility to do with others, to do with animals, to do with all sentient beings, to do with the earth. You know, I think sometimes that's just a convenient block to not have to really consider something that's bigger than yourselves, you know, at times. So yeah, I think it's interesting. It's really quite interesting. But I think that journey back to love and empowerment and unity, like, it's incredible to hear your journey, because it absolutely is that. And I see that in your eyes, I see it in your spirit, and it's a beautiful thing to actually witness, because I get to witness you, which is great.
I get to talk to you every day. I'm so lucky. I really do. I get to see you every day and other magnificent people across the globe. I mean, it's really incredible, like, what we have.
Yeah, no, it is. It absolutely is. And what I love about it is that there are moments that you get to share with people, and you realize how fleeting it can be, but then you also can find soul tribe within community, and then that's it. You're in touch, and that's how it is. You know, you just stay in touch. But I did want to ask you about your new brand, Ladyboss, and what you are hoping to do with Ladyboss as well, because that is one of your companies that you've set up. And please tell us more. I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, so Ladyboss is a women empowerment brand, and it's for like women who support women who want to encourage each other, and especially for just like women standing in their own unique power, which is like kind of something that we've been talking about the whole time. Pretty much like essence of being yourself. Not what your mom says you should be, not what your dad says you should be, or your brother, your cousin, your uncle, who cares? Being yourself, like, genuinely, and like all of us supporting each other to be the best versions of ourselves, and to help each other to grow together and find out what that is. So it's really just like t-shirts and apparel right now. I'm starting a podcast too. I'm definitely going to need you to be on that. I just think it's so cool. And like, you know, also we could do like custom t-shirts if anyone has their own businesses, or they're running in a race, or they're going on a family trip or something. We can make that for you guys too, for everyone. And yeah, it's just really for women empowerment and standing in their power. And we'll see where this goes. My like long-term vision is that I see that it would be like at different conferences and stuff, and have like speakers go on behalf of Ladyboss and tell their story. You know, I love that. I love a good story. Everyone loves a good story and a good comeback. And I think it's so cool. I want to give you a shout out, because you are so awesome. Like, literally, a lot of people will be like, oh, like, you don't need a degree in order to like be like, you know, to be successful. But like, I have a master's degree and you have like a doctorate.
Oh, I don't have a doctorate. I do have a master's though.
You have a master's degree. Yeah, but like, you're like being asked to speak at like to teach at universities and stuff. I mean, that's like a big deal. And I just really admire you for that and all the things that you do. So I really want to give you a shout out.
Oh, thanks, Trish. Thank you.
I just think it's so cool. Like, you are an empowering woman. I've watched you grow since I met you almost a year and a half ago. And it's been so great to watch, and for us to empower each other and to manifest stuff together, and to like get aligned with our dreams. And you're always so supportive of me, and I support you, and I just love that.
Oh God, yeah. It's like we always describe this as a cheer squad, don't we? We're just like cheering each other on and saying like everything is possible, because actually when you can really truly manifest what you really, really want, that is like that, there's nothing that can beat that, right? You're like, what? This is happening. Yes. And you're like, of course it's happening. Like, of course.
And we have a whole tribe of us that are like, you know, you got this, you can have this. If you can think of it, then you can make it and you can create it. You already have, it's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's yours. And like, meanwhile, if I tell anybody like on the outside world, they're like going to tell you all the reasons why it's not going to work, why you're going to fail, why you should be scared. So if you don't have a tribe like Bexy and I have, make yourself new friends, because it really is. You are who you hang out with. You are who you spend your time with. Look at the closest people to you. That is you. Don't talk shit about the people closest to you, because that's you. Oh, my friends are such this, that, the other thing. I'm like, then you are. That's your reflection of you. So I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I don't know what I did to deserve you and everybody else, but it's incredible. Okay, you're right. True love.
the miracle of Trish.
It's so cool. Honestly, like the things I've accomplished, like since I died and came back, I'm like, I've done like 3 Spartan races. Like I'm doing a half marathon in 2 weeks. That's far. That's like over 20K. I might be 25K. It's crazy. And like, I just keep going, you know, we got to keep going. We got to stand together and encourage each other. And that's life. That's
absolutely. Absolutely. You know what my challenge is right now, Trish?
Tell me.
To sit in full stillness. Like to just sit and chill and be with myself, because I am a manifestor in human design. Trish, I think you're a projector, aren't you? And actually, when you're a manifestor and a bit of a people pleaser, you tend to just like do this constantly, and a high achiever and, you know, all these things, and caretaker, etc. And I am trying to put all of those down, hence saying no to everything and just be, just be. So that's my challenge, and I think it's really important to empower everybody to challenge themselves in that way. Just really take what you need. If it's doing a half marathon, do a half marathon. If it's doing a Vipassana, do a Vipassana. If you need to go and get a massage every day, then go and get a massage every day. You know, I mean, I wish I could do that every day, and I will do that every day.
Exactly.
I will, not just the wish. And this is also it, isn't it? It's the abundant mindset. It's a you know, like it's adjusting ourselves into abundance and knowing our inherent abundance. And that's what I love about you, Trish, because you like, that's it. You know, you're just so much for that. And I think that it's amazing what you're going to be doing. I can see that Ladyboss is going to be great, because it is going to be such an empowering voice, and I will for sure come on your podcast, and it'll be ace.
Thank you. That'll be so cool.
Yeah, it will be. And I just want to say thank you. We can wrap it up there. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and being so beautiful. And anyone who is listening, thank you so much for your time. You can come and support me on my Patreon community, and support holistic practitioners from all over the world. There's going to be a book list on there. There's dance sessions. There's all sorts getting uploaded on there at the minute, recipes. So go and enjoy some more holistic goodness. And thank you so much for your time, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much, Trish.
Oh yeah, you guys could find me on Instagram.
Trish, oh yeah, sorry.
You're fine. I just love to contact or hear from people after. That's always so much fun.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yay! It's
Trish M. Kane.
M. Kane.
K-A-N-E. And Ladyboss, if they want to look up like.
Yeah, that's on there. They can find that on there if they want.
Okay, sweet. So I did the roundup far too early then. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, everyone. Please contact Trish. Trish is awesome, and get in touch. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much. Thanks, Trish.
Thank you, Bexy.